can one truly comprehend the depth of a tragedy before it unfolds? A question we are left grappling with as we delve into the chilling narrative of the Kansas City mass shooting, an event that unfolded in the aftermath of the Super Bowl parade, a time meant for jubilation and camaraderie. But instead, it became a stage for an unfathomable incident that would forever mar the city's memory of the event. In the blink of an eye, the joyous cheers turned into desperate cries for help. The city's streets, once filled with laughter and celebration, now echoed with the horrifying sounds of gunfire and chaos. The grim toll of the tragedy was staggering. Numerous innocent lives were lost and countless others were left severely injured. Families were shattered, dreams were crushed, and the city's spirit was left deeply wounded. The magnitude of the tragedy was such that it sent ripples of shock not just across the city, but throughout the nation. A moment that was meant to be a testament to the city's unity and love for the sport instead became a grim reminder of the senseless violence that lurks in the shadows of our society. A moment of celebration turned into a nightmare, leaving the city and the nation in shock. And as we navigate through the aftermath of this horrifying incident, we are left with a pressing question. How did we get here? And more importantly, where do we go from here? Behind every heinous act, there lurks a perpetrator with a motive. Our focus now shifts to the individual behind the Kansas City mass shooting, an individual whose actions have left a lasting scar on the city and its people. Who was this person? A neighbor, a co-worker, a stranger? His background, it seems, was a patchwork of incidents that hinted at a deeper, more sinister problem. The shooter had a history of firearms misuse, a fact that was known in his local community. Yet, he slipped through the cracks, his destructive potential underestimated until it was too late. As we delve deeper into his past, we find a series of missed red flags, incidents involving threats and weapons, a propensity for violence that was overlooked or ignored. The question arises, could this act of terror have been prevented? The motive behind his actions remains a mystery. Was it a sudden act of rage or a premeditated scheme? Did he bear a grudge against society, or was he driven by a twisted ideology? The answers are unclear, leaving us with a chilling uncertainty that is hard to shake off. This act was not a random outburst, but a calculated move. The shooter had planned his attack meticulously, choosing a day of celebration to unleash his deadly rampage. His actions were not the result of a moment's madness, but the culmination of a dark and twisted plan. A grim reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human heart. This incident forces us to confront the harsh reality of our society, that beneath the veneer of normalcy, there can lurk a dangerous and unpredictable threat. In the face of disaster, how does a community respond? Well, Kansas City showed us the answer to that in the aftermath of the unthinkable. It was a response marked by resilience, unity, and a collective strength that only emerges when tested by the worst of circumstances. First responders, civilians, and even strangers all came together in a heroic effort to aid the injured and secure the area. Stories of everyday heroes began to emerge, ordinary people who made extraordinary choices in a moment of crisis. The nation, too, rallied around Kansas City. Messages of solidarity and support poured in from all corners of the country. The grief was shared, but so was the resolve. It was a clear affirmation of an age-old truth. We are all interconnected, and when one community hurts, we all feel the pain. But it wasn't just about the immediate response. The days and weeks that followed saw a city determined to heal and rebuild. Vigils were held, memorials were erected, and resources were mobilized to support those affected. Such resilience, such unity became the beacon of hope in the face of profound sorrow. And so Kansas City demonstrated what it means to stand together in the face of adversity. They showed us that even in the darkest times, there is a glimmer of hope to be found in the strength of community. In the wake of tragedy, a community finds its strength. When tragedy strikes, what role does the government play? As we delve into the government's response to the horrific Kansas City shooting, we must remember that gun control is a complex, multifaceted issue. In the wake of the shooting, the government's response has been swift and decisive. Lawmakers nationwide have called for stricter gun control laws, aiming to prevent such incidents from recurring. They argue that more stringent background checks, restrictions on high-capacity magazines, and a ban on assault weapons could be key in mitigating the risk of mass shootings. Yet, the issue of gun control is far from black and white. Some politicians and citizens argue that these measures infringe upon the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. They contend that the focus should be on enforcing existing laws and addressing the root causes of violence, such as mental health issues and social inequality. Furthermore, it's important to note that the response to gun control isn't uniform across the board. While some states have enacted stricter gun laws in response to mass shootings, others have moved in the opposite direction, loosening restrictions and expanding gun rights. Amidst this debate, the government continues to grapple with the challenge of balancing individual liberties with public safety. They must navigate the path between preventing further atrocities and upholding the constitutional rights of their citizens. In the end, the government's response to gun control is a reflection of society's views, shaped by a myriad of factors from cultural norms to political ideologies. It's a complicated issue, one that requires thoughtful consideration and respectful dialogue. A nation grapples with the balance between freedom and safety. The debate rages on,